Hi guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are reviewing The Great Gatsby. So this is all about a guy named Nick, where he is a World War One veteran and that he works at Wall Street. And what happens is he buys a cottage near the sea, but he doesn't know that his neighbour is sort of a legend. A ghost, many people would say, because they've never seen him but they just know his name. They have many names for him, many pasts that he could be from. But who is Gatsby? And for some reason, our character Nick is attracted to this person with his mystery and his wealth. And so is Gatsby with Nick and his. Actually, I don't know why he's attracted to Nick, but he just is. But phenomenal movie. It stars Tony Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio in it, and we'll just go straight to the review. So firstly, just by the look of the movie, it is visually stunning. It is absolutely beautiful. You've got the river, you've got the castle there, you've got the lights, and it's all just visually stunning. You can tell loads and loads of effort was put into making this movie or this film, because it just looks beautiful. Every single shot in the movie just looks magnificent, and there's none where you would go, all right, that looks terrible, unless it's supposed to look terrible. And in my opinion, throughout this whole movie, it's because it's all set in a different time period, which is in the 1930s. You would think sometimes it might take you out of the 1930s. You might think, oh, I'm watching something, but you never do. It immerses and invites you into the 1930s, and there's different places that are different to other places within the 1930s. So you've got the bar, you've got the poor and the working class, and then you've got Gatsby's mansion and Nick's cousin's mansion. It's he's just a normal guy stuck in a rich world, basically. There's rich everywhere. Everywhere around him is just rich people. And he gets consumed into the rich lifestyle, even if he didn't want to be in the first place, just by the help and attraction to Gatsby in general. If we talk about performance-wise, Tobey Maguire is perfect in the role. He makes Nick amazing. There's no point in the film where I went, he's bad at this role, at this part, or I don't think he's good and he did that line good. I think everything he did in that role was magnificent. However, for Leonardo DiCaprio, it's a bit different. For me, he still did a perfectly good job, but I think this was his worst role he's ever had. I think movies such as Inception, such as Titanic even, I think he's better in all those other roles than they are in in this movie in general, this film. But I haven't seen Django Unchained, but I've heard he's pretty good in that role too. But I don't know, I just think you can tell he's trying his best by the lines he's been given. But I just think it could be done a bit better. I love his lines where he always says old chap. And it just feels perfect when he says it. But it's just... I just think he's had better roles in general. So we've already talked about it, visually stunning. We've already talked about the characters, or the main two actors, because the rest are doing a phenomenal job, but I don't really want to delve in them because mainly they had character development, but there was one character you love to hate. But to me, the main focus is on those two characters as what you get majority of the journey. Third point is the lighting. So the lighting is made beautifully, especially during the end scene. So in the beginning, it's all warm, light-hearted, it's all sunny, and this reflects everyone's emotions, how they're all happy, they're all excited, they're all partying, especially Nick's and Gatsby's though, because Nick's just met this guy, he thinks he's amazing, he thinks he's spectacular because he's so rich, and then Gatsby's also because he's running all these parties, he thinks he's the head of the guy, he's the big man, so it's all sunny. But near the end, it gets dark, it gets dim, it gets cold. Nick is sad. Gatsby is no more. Spoiler alert. I'll put a spoiler alert this review. It is not a spoil-free review. Gatsby dies at the end, so it's all dark, it's all dim, it's all lonely, and you might think, but there might be hope, but there isn't, because everyone that's attended his parties forgot about him, forgot about who he was, well, not forgot who he was, but didn't even attend his funeral. I love a line where Toby goes, how many parties he's thrown, there was no one who came to his funeral, and that's just cold. I don't know if it was exactly that same quote, but it's similar to that quote, and you can just feel how lonely and how desolate. You can tell how desolate the mansion is, but you can tell how lonely Toby is, Nick. And even at the end, right at the end, he says like New York City isn't what it used to be like. It even though you might see the glim and glamour now, he can now only see the sadness, the depression, the hatred. Because at the beginning he loved it. He was amazed by Wall Street at the beginning. There's even a high angle shot where he's just smiling, he's laughing. Now it's all cold and brutal like Batman, like a Batman movie basically. And it just fits and reflects so well. And being that there's one light that represents hope in this movie, in this film in general, the green light that Gatsby believes in, that would shine over the mist, that is just hope. And at the end, you see his ghost, you see the green light, and that shows his hope, his destiny, something more. With Gatsby as a character, he wanted something more. He wanted something more than he was, and it reflects that a lot. This movie, well, this film in general, is a lot like the American Dream. Like, you want more, you want to go and see more, you want to go to America and make yourself who you are, make yourself an actual person, make yourself popular, a film star, anything. Just make yourself out there. And this is what we get with Gatsby. He wanted more, but in face value, he got what he wanted. And he still paid the price. So there is also a lot of camera techniques and experimental shots they use within this movie. So they use there's a lot of wide shots to give you the show of the castle. You've got establishing shots, you've got mid shots, you've got close-ups, extreme close-ups. Just a variety of different shots are included within the scenes. And also what they also did was they used, I think it was like 1,500 visual special effects in this film, and they are done beautifully. You can see what visual effects and what aren't. I think the visual effects, like when there was one bit, I think this was visual effect when Nick looked at himself from the hotel suite and he looked down and saw himself on the street, and the street was all like small. I think that's a visual effect. Another visual effect is where we pull back from the hotel and we see all of New York City from 1930s, all light, all bright, in the darkness, and you can tell that was a visual effects shot because it'd be a nightmare if it was a drone shot. And they also have other post-production techniques in it, like when Nick writes his story, when Nick writes his letter, we see the piece of paper fading in from the image, from the scene where he's writing the letter. So you can see him writing the letter, but then you can also see the letter being wrote by the pen in the hand of the paper. It's been like a fade-in transition. And speaking of transitions, there is a lot of them. There's like fade-in transitions. I think there's also like mixing transitions, and I want to say like merging transitions. Like the big ones, the big three that are in this. But yeah, the only negatives for this film that I've discovered was two things. One was the pace at the end was getting really, really slow, and I started turning off. And 2 was, as I said, it's not Leonardo's best role, and even though some of the most characters were great, one character I think in particular was a bit annoying, but overall it was good. Overall, this is a great depiction of 1930s because it shows you the contrast between rich and poor, and it shows you what people thought life was like and the reality at the same time with those contrasts. I have this rating for a 9 out of 10. So that's it for my review. I don't know if this one's going to be a bit quicker. I know this is going to be longer or a bit slower. There might be some parts I didn't say in it, but in general, I got my point across. And if you really enjoy this, I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I really appreciate it very much. So, yeah, hope you enjoy, and see you guys next time.